Hey guys, this is Jennifer Turner and we are back with another episode of EduSheets Toolbox. Today we're going to be talking about viewing modes and also the sharing modes and sharing options that you use whenever you're doing a Google file. So I've pulled up a sample Google Doc. This is a book study that I offer staff at my campus and other campuses every summer. It's a Google Doc, but what I'm going to show you works on all Google. So you can do this in a slideshow, you can do this in other things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sharing settings. When you're in Google on a document, on the top right you have share. If you click it, it tells you who can see it. So right now I am the only one who has access to this, and I have restricted it to where only if your name is here can you open it. But you can change it and say that I have full-on access, but if someone has the link to this, they can open it and view it. You can even say they can comment or edit, which we're going to talk more about in just a minute. You can also add people. So I'm going to send an invitation to my other, there it is, oh, wrong thing, EduSheets Toolbox to add gmail.com. Okay, and then I can pick and say I want them to be full on editing rights. Maybe I just want them to comment, just to view, and I'm going to talk about those two in just a minute. Notify people means it sends them an email. So you can click this and it's going to give them access, but it's not going to send them an email and tell them that they have an access. You can include a message and you can also copy the link to it here. So when I send that access now to this other person, when I go to share, we can see we have both. And we have more options. We can transfer the owner. So right now, I own this file, but I could give the file to them and they own it, and I would maintain editing access unless they change it, because now they're the owner. I can even go in and remove the access and take it away. So I let them look at it for a while, but now they don't need to look at it anymore. Maybe they don't work here anymore, they don't need to look at it anymore. So you have a lot of options in sharing and determining what kind of access people have to your files and which people have access to your files. I'm going to just leave them as a viewer and hit save. Another way, we've talked about viewing and commenting and that kind of stuff. If you go over to your view and you go to mode, it's going to put you on editing mode to start. It's also here. Let me move my picture so you can see. It's also here. It's going to automatically put you at editing. That means that if you go in and you make changes, it's just going to make the changes directly. You can edit. If you give someone editing access, they can do this to your document as well. So then multiple people with editing access can be working in the document at the same time. If you do suggesting, which is similar to commenting access, then you might say, do you see how it pops up this little box over here and it's making a suggestion? And you can even discuss, like, what do you think about this, depending on what change, and it would help if I spelled this right. Depending on what change you wanted, maybe you can have a discussion with your other editors or other commenters about whether or not they like that wording change or not, especially whenever you are drafting policies and procedures. Really important to have that discussion, and you can do it electronically viewing the suggesting or commenting features. And you can also, if you're drafting, for instance, an email that's going to go out to your constituents, to your students or to your parents, then as a team, you can talk about the wording. And then anyone who's in here who has editing, suggesting, or commenting access can see this comment. You can even send a message. So I can say, tag somebody, follow up basically, and it's going to send them an email that I made a comment on here. So because we're both editors, now if someone is on with commenting access, the owner is automatically going to get an email saying someone made a comment on your document. So it's a good way to work as teams. And then the other option is viewing. So if you want to see, this is really well like with the presentations in slides, and if I accept it, see how all of that went away and it just comes here. But if I go to viewing, I'm going to see what it looks like to someone who's got viewing access. So if you have multiple tabs in your document, it's going to be here. If it's a slideshow, it's going to get rid of all of the, you see how we can't really see the menu bar anymore across the top? It's all gone because we're in viewing access. This is what it looks like to someone who can only look at it. So those are the 3 viewing modes, kind of coupled with the sharing settings to where you have a lot of say in what people can do to your document. Now, if you give someone only viewing access, they can go in and do, make a copy and make their own copy and do with your document what you can, what they want, whatever. But then it's going to be their document because they made a copy of what you did, and they then either used exactly what you had or they changed it in some way. So you cannot take away, if you give someone access to view your document, you can't take away their access to copy it and do with it what they will. But you can control who can mess with your actual document and how much access they have to mess with it. So if you guys have questions about this, please drop me a comment under the video, and I'm happy to explain in more detail or anything to help you out as you're trying to decide how you're going to share your documents, and also what viewing access you and your team are going to use as you work on a document to be the most efficient. All right, thanks guys, bye.